going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about heavyweights. And before we get too far into this video, I am super happy to say I got my boy TravTries here in this video with me. I've been wanting to get him into this video with me, or just a video in general. I did a podcast on his channel a couple months back. And yeah, you know, we were talking about doing more collabs together, and today is the day. And we wanted to talk about this movie, about a bunch of kids that have to go to fat camp. And yeah, this is a movie I feel not a lot of people really know about anymore. Nobody really talks about this movie, and that's part of the reason that I wanted to do it. Before we even decided to do this video, had you even heard of Heavyweights?
Actually, really, no. I was really surprised with the fact that, like, I had never seen this thing. I was really, like, I could tell, though, that this was one of those movies. It was like, this was a very, I'm sure when it was, I mean, probably far into it when it came out, it was probably a straight Disney Channel type thing. It really kind of felt that way. But, yeah, I was very shocked that I hadn't seen this, because this is the type of movie that, like, I should have already seen. So I was blown away by that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love the fact that I was able to tell you to, like, go check out this movie. Thank God for Disney Plus and the ability to do this kind of thing. And yeah, it was awesome to see that you have this very, like, simple movie, right? Like, that's something I really love about this movie. It's the movie that I feel would never be made today, sadly. Just that kind of movie. It's 100% 90s. Like, everything about it, the way it looks, the feel, vibe. Like, when was the last time you saw a movie that's centered on a group of, like, fat kids? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really happen.
Yeah,
and I think that this is definitely a movie of its time, for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely of its time, and it's super, like, it's so over the top, but, like, well, not really over the top. It's just kind of like, it's got that, like you said in your text when you're trying to describe it to me, it's like, just got that perfect amount of cheese, where it's just like, it's Disney cheese. It's so perfect, though, because, like, I was blown away by how actually good it ended up being. Like I said, I had never heard of it, and, like, and, you know, I'm sure we're going to talk about cast members and everything, but, like, you know, Ben Stiller being in this, I was like, you know, where and why? And then when you find out, you know, it blew my mind. The whole thing blew my mind.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, I think this is personally some of my favorite Ben Stiller, because this is that early Ben Stiller, you know what I mean? When we were starting to see him come out in these roles that really made him. And this is one that I feel like gets forgotten. Like, not a lot of people really think, like, of this movie when they think of Ben Stiller. But he's great in this movie. And before we even talk about Ben Stiller, for anybody who has no idea what Heavyweights is about, it is a Disney movie. I watched it tons of times on Disney Channel, like you mentioned. Like, I have to have seen it like 15 to 20 times growing up as a kid, just on Disney Channel alone. And then when I would see it on Netflix throughout the years, like, it was just one of those movies that I would just throw on, whether I watched the whole thing or not. I would just kind of watch it. And yeah, so the basic premise of this movie is it follows this main kid little chunky kid who kind of like just goes around, kind of like avoids the bullies at school. You know, nice kid, you know, a little bit afraid. Like, they kind of like set his character up to feel very real at times. There's like that scene near the beginning of the movie where he's walking home from school, and there's like a lady walking with her dog, and he's like afraid of it while it's barking at him. He's just kind of like that dweeby, kind of like just that dweeby chunky kid. And he goes home, and his parents essentially surprise him with the fact that he's going to be going to this awesome summer camp, and he's kind of excited about it. And he watches the promo video, and not long into the promo video, he realizes, oh, you guys are sending me to a fat camp. And that's kind of the basic premise of the film.
I knew nothing except for, like, I knew Ben Stiller was going to be in this movie, but I didn't know of any other actors or who was, and there was a couple surprises in it. And, like, the dad, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he's in a lot of stuff, and I was very surprised to see him. But then it wasn't really a surprise once I saw him. Like, okay, that fits. He's kind of like a Disney dad type. But yeah, I don't know his name. But yeah, I was just kind of floored. Like, okay, here's this actor, here's this actor. That guy from Holes,
yeah,
you know, like that guy too. I don't know his name either. But yeah, a lot of good actors in this.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things. Is like, you see a lot of these actors who maybe weren't too big at the time, or maybe have like really brief roles, but it's nice. There's even that guy from I can't remember his full name, but he's on Saturday Night Live right now, and he's also from Kenan and Kel. He was one of the fat kids at camp. You know, what's his name? It's Kenan something. He's on Saturday Night Live right now, but he's one of the fat kids in the movie. And yeah, I think for me, what I really enjoy about this film is you have this premise that, again, would never be made into a movie today. And you have these kids that go to this fat camp, and not long after being there, the kid finds out, oh, this might actually be pretty cool. Like, everybody who's been here before and gone to the previous years of this camp
But then it happened to be different for everybody. Like, so it was one of those types of plots where it's like, oh, like, it's his, like, and there's a lot of movies that do that where it's like this one, like, first day of something, and then something happens for all the characters that's brand new. And I think in a way, there's a lot of charm to that. Because obviously it made the story keep going and move forward, but it was like, you know, just being the kid experiencing it newly with everybody else was like, it's good stuff. It's good writing for a movie like that, for a movie from back then too.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Like, it's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of charm. It's this, you know, this movie about this kid who goes to this because his parents kind of force him into it, and he doesn't really feel like he'll connect with these people. It's funny because at first, you know, he knows he's a fat kid, you know, he's kind of defensive about it, but he almost doesn't feel like he'd fit in with the other fat kids. And when he gets there, you know, he kind of feels disconnected. And then it's not too long into it that he, like you mentioned, things change for them. But, you know, some of these kids have like secret stashes that they like hide their like snacks and food in. They even have like literally a tree trunk out in the middle.
I loved all of that.
Yeah, dude, it's like
kid pulls up his shirt, it's just like melting all over him and everything.
Crikey. I mean, it's too hot in that bus.
I didn't expect to laugh as much as, like, because it's humor that, like, it works today. Yeah. That's what blew me away about the movie. It was like, this humor is like, it was cheesy, but it's right on that level where, you know, there's some stuff that you can really laugh at even as an adult. This isn't just like a movie that's like for kids only. It's really like, it's kind of a for everybody. And like you said in your text, like, it's a total feel-good film. Yeah. Like, that is exactly what it is. And yeah, like, and there probably is people out there that haven't seen it like the position I was in. So, you know, if you haven't seen Heavyweights, like, give yourself if you have Disney Plus, that's how I was able to watch it. Yeah, totally shocked.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm glad that you enjoyed it, man. I was very curious to see if you would think the movie's maybe not for you, maybe because you haven't seen it and it's so dated. I kind of was looking forward to seeing the discussion that would happen between us, because you have somebody like me who has that nostalgic attachment to it. But then then you have you that now gets to see it for the first time and kind of gets to see it with a new set of eyes, you know.
With an adult brain, yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about like adult things that you can connect to in this movie. And when you watch it, not only do you kind of be able to relate to a lot of the things that kids go through, but you can also relate to a lot of the things that the adults go through, specifically the main camp counselor, who's also a fat man. And, you know, he gets ridiculed throughout the film a lot because we haven't gotten into it, but Ben Stiller's character comes in because essentially he and his company essentially buy over this camp. And he is now like running the show, essentially. Like, he's going to be the main camp counselor. He's going to get these kids in ship shape, but he's the biggest asshole that he could possibly be. Like, he's just this super rude, like, he will make you feel bad about being fat character. But at the same time, he's such a likable but not likable character. Like, he's so good in the role.
His acting was so 90s and so over the top, but it was right, like I said, it's right on that level where there's something about it that's making you laugh and you're enjoying it anyway. In a way, he had this relatability because he kind of has that, like, okay, I was bullied and stuff, so therefore this is why I'm like this. It's kind of like that whole story with a villain where it's like, well, at least he's not just evil just to be evil. He has like reasons, even though we may not get a lot of that, but you kind of feel it throughout the movie and his character. But yeah, just total over the top cheeseball villain. Like, that's what I liked about it, though.
I'm really glad to hear that you enjoyed it so much, man, that you were able to connect to it. And it's a movie that I feel, if you have Disney Plus, go check it out. As far as negatives that I have about this movie, I don't have too many, because it's a movie that is so aware of what it is, you know. And I think that that's so important when you're going to criticize a film. Is like, does the movie know what it is, and does it know what it's doing as far as its decisions? There are definitely elements that are dated and that feel very much of its time, but today, though, I almost feel like it gives it a charm. I was recently watching, just kind of like throwing it on, one of my favorite Disney animated films that I haven't reviewed yet on the channel, but I can't wait to, which is The Aristocats. And when I was watching that, some of the animation is so nice and charming. It's very dated. You can see the moments in the hand-drawn animation where like certain lines on their face are appearing.
Yeah, the lines kind of almost come off of like the line. It's like it just starts to, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it definitely looks like it's on paper. But it's like, but yeah, there's a charm to that.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
with how much the cats and stuff move in the movie and stuff. It's very very eye-catching film for sure.
Absolutely, dude. And that's the thing is like I feel like we're in a time now where every movie looks amazing, even if the movie blows. Like that's why whenever I hear people like talking complete crap about movies nowadays, I just think like even if you didn't love the story, even if it wasn't something you're looking to buy on Blu-ray, get a poster hanging up behind you, we have way too much talent on display these days. But they're able to make such crisp-looking films, and there's just something to the charm of these kinds of films that have this dated little feel to them. And this is one of those for me where there's something just dated about the way the cast. You know, like I said, you would never really have a film that accumulates this group of chunky, like weird little kids and makes this movie. And I really just love the fact that the kids have to overcome this villain played by Ben Stiller that, you know, is kind of just dogging on them and making them feel bad for being fat. And for a guy who's kind of like teetered in my weight and maybe had self-conscious issues myself growing up and stuff like that, you know, I felt for those kids growing up because I was just kind of like, you know, like there's one thing for you to already mentally know you're kind of chunky. Maybe you know it and you want to change, but you keep eating and you just kind of keep doing your thing. A lot of the kids in this movie couldn't care less. Like they just wanted to stuff their face with food. But I just love the fact that in the end of the day, they come to terms with the fact that they should lose weight and they should get healthy, but in a fun way, in a way that they're able to celebrate themselves no matter how chunky they may be. And I think that that's really the heart and soul of the film. You know, do you have any negatives about the film? Anything that really stood out to you?
And I know I wrote some notes, but I'm using my phone to this call, so I can't really look at them. But no, I mean, I'm pretty sure like everything I had, it was pretty positive. I can't really, I mean, there's probably a couple things in the movie where it's like very cliche moments. What's his name? He's from Frasier, and that's what I was surprised to see him in it. He was Kenny Daly in Frasier, the boss of the radio station. He like shows the kid like, okay, I'm gonna push the go-kart or whatever, and like he pushes it for him. I liked that because they had good chemistry. It's kind of like a like you're kind of my dad kind of thing. Like, but maybe that was a little bit on the line of cliche. You know, it's just kind of like, well, like you could kind of see it coming. Like this guy's gonna be kind of his mentor and get him through. Again, and it belonged there, but like you know, in a I don't know. That might be my only thing that's like, it's not really a big negative. It's just a couple things here and there were just a little bit cliche, but at the same time, it's like, it's a movie for back then. So that's when the cliches were created.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's different.
Yeah, it definitely has that predictability if you go back and watch it today. You know what I mean? Like, there are elements about it that are predictable, but it's like I was telling you, it's just a feel-good movie. I think it's one of those movies that you could just kind of pop on if you've never seen it before. You just kind of want to watch something that doesn't have high stakes. You know, there's stakes in the story. There's things to get attached to, but it's not something that's going to be like emotionally impacting you later on. It's just something that you kind of throw on, have a laugh with yourself, and kind of just appreciate a film again that would never be made today. Like this movie would never be made. You look at the marketing, you look at the posters, a movie about a bunch of fat kids being shamed at a camp by this.
Yeah, and I didn't even know what it was about, even by looking at the title. I was like, heavyweights was, I mean, some kind of like gym thing or whatever, like in this. And ironically, it ended up being basically the opposite. But yeah, man, like, and one big surprise and just one like huge positive for me is what you said earlier. Keenan being in the movie was an absolute like, I was blown away because this was before Keenan and Kel. He was obviously a very little kid. I didn't look at the cast or anything. That was probably my biggest and most favorite surprise. The Kenny Daly guy and him being in the movie are two. Just I was like, wow, they fit right into this. I was really, really surprised by that, and just like. And not to spoil a whole lot, but basically just Keenan's first line, just like, you going to fat camp or whatever? It was like, no, why? Because you're fat.
Headed to the fat camp. Oh? Why do you say that? Because you're fat.
It was just like, it was so good, and Keenan's just always been like, Keenan and Kel themselves, like actually, I didn't get to meet Kel at Comic-Con, but I saw him there, and so that was enough for me. I took a picture of him from far away, but yeah, one day I definitely want to meet both of them. But yeah, just I grew up with Keenan and Kel, so it was just nice to see. So there was a little bit of that where it's like I'm an adult and I'm watching this for the first time, but that there was nostalgia already in it from the very beginning. So that meant a lot to me. So it's just kind of like. It works. It all works.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed this film. I definitely recommend it to any of you who are watching. definitely go check it out if you have Disney Plus. And the reality of the situation is, I know that most of us have Disney Plus right now. It's not a film that, again, that's like mind blowing, but it's got a good message. It's got a good good feeling. It's got really solid characters throughout it. Good message throughout. There are arcs throughout it, and you can just have a good time with it. It's a movie you can just shut your brain off with. And like
you put it on in the background or pay attention to it. It works as both. I feel like it totally works as like you just throw it on while you're doing other stuff, or you can pay attention to it. But I feel like even if you put it on, you're gonna have a hard time to you're gonna want to pay attention.
Yeah, it's one of those movies.
It's one of those movies that, I was like fixing myself a drink or something, and I had to pause because I was like, I don't want to miss a second. Yeah, I didn't want to miss a single second. You're just glued to the screen, and I didn't expect that from a movie that's like this far back and just a random Disney type live action movie. I blown away.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you felt that way, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being in this video with me, Trav. If you guys have not checked out TravTries, definitely go to the link down below in the description box. He reviews all kinds of food, does podcasts, all kinds of things. Dude is easily one of the coolest people I've met here on YouTube. Super grateful to have you as a friend and be on each other's channels now. And we'll be doing this more often. You guys can expect to see his face a lot more often on this channel. And yeah, guys, make sure you guys comment down below. Hit that like button. You have any last words for everybody, my friend?
Go watch Heavyweights. treat yourself to that. And definitely look forward to, me and Anthony are going to be doing stuff like this a lot, and I'm excited about it moving forward with great content.
For sure, man. Well, thank you guys again. We definitely appreciate you guys watching. Leave your comments down below. Hit that like button. Go check out TravTries, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
See you later.